Have you ever wondered if someone is just being a little bit dicky to you, or that they're actually putting you through a form of abuse? My name is Celine van Golde, and my research investigates how people recognize, interpret and memorize non-physical forms of abuse. I also look into what kind of personality traits and other factors might impact this recognition and interpretation. We're looking at different types of personality traits, such as the dark triad traits that make people either recognize these behaviors more as abuse or less likely to recognize it as abuse. But then we're also looking at if you are doing these behaviors yourself, if you actually recognize that it is abuse or not. I think we're often focusing a lot on the responsibility of victim survivors to recognize something and make sure that they're not in a certain situation where they're being abused, but we should focus on abusers as well and actually make them recognize that what they're doing is abuse. Personality traits play a role in how we recognize this type of abuse. So coercive control is not very obvious abuse. A lot of people, when they think about abuse, they think about physical abuse like hitting, kicking, but also potentially like calling you names or being very mean. If we look at coercive controlling behaviors, they're very much aimed at keeping control over you, and they can be quite insidious. So they're tracking where you are, they're monitoring what you eat or how you look, how you dress, who you hang out with. And what we see is that not a lot of people automatically recognize these types of behaviors as abuse. The real-world impact is now worldwide. We see a lot of criminalization of this non-physical abuse. But at the same time, if people don't recognize this as abuse, both in committing it, but also when it's being done to them, how can we expect this to be prosecuted? How can we expect them to report it to police? How can we expect others to actually intervene? And how can we expect perpetrators to realize what I'm doing is abusive and I need to stop this? So what we're looking at is trying to see how people recognize it, interpret it, and with that either design interventions, but also campaigns that can make people more aware and recognize these types of behaviors earlier on and prevent them from happening. We're also trying to look into if we can do this very early on already. So not just when it's already happening, but even within young people and children, making them realize what is acceptable and non-acceptable behavior, and when does behavior actually cross over from looking after someone to now it's actually becoming a crime what you're doing or abuse.